Morning, everyone. How's it going? Good morning, good morning. Let's get our coffees made. Dinner was so cool, Heather. Thank you for asking. It was so good and such a cool experience. Wow. They were so nice, and they made it all birthday stuff and gave me a candle and everything. This is a Snuggie that I got from, it's the Galinda Snuggie. It was gifted to me for Secret Santa. Which is kind of fun. I thought I would wear it today since we're starting the Princess Diaries today, and Galinda is about as close to a princess as I get, right? Galinda. Let's see. I think I might need to order coffee today, which is shocking. I am 34 weeks and change pregnant. Thank you. We're also very happy. Hey, Jenna. So, who here has read the Princess Diaries before, and who is going to be hearing it for the first time other than the movie? I read the book literally when it came out, which is why I am the way I am. It completely changed my life, made me want to write, made everything. I was a very young teen, and I stumbled upon it in the store, and it was a brand new release, and I've never looked back. That all being said, I haven't read the first book since 2001, so it will be a refresher. A child told me his mom isn't pregnant, she's holding a baby on the inside to keep her safe. That's so cute. That's precious. Oh my God, Danielle, what an adorable baby. I have to tell you all who have seen the movies, it is different from the movies. It takes place in New York, not San Francisco. Even your coffee maker's going to put me to sleep. Oh, Becca. Hello to Maryland. It is different than the movies, so be prepared for that. There are a lot of differences that may come as surprises, but that's okay. Overall, I think the Princess Diaries movies were a good adaptation, but of course it can never be exactly the same for a number of reasons. And we can talk about those, as we come upon them, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so that's where we're at for today. Yeah. Princess Diaries. I think the books are amazing. I completely agree, Sloth. Like I said, the books, changed my perspective on writing as a teenager, Yeah, you're on time, Amanda. Yes, new book day. It's new book day for all of us. We're going to start reading as soon as I get the coffee made. I just have to have coffee before I can start, It's a ritual thing. You know me, I'm a ritual person. I do the same things every day. It's fine. We are who we are. I'm on day 2 of being sick. Oh no, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm so sorry you're sick. Rituals do equal stability. Yeah, I'm sick. Rituals do equal stability. Yeah, I need them. My brain needs stability and it needs rituals. It's true. It's true. sad that I missed one day of mozzarella that won't download. I'm still working on it, Katie. I haven't given up. I've been trying to download and re-download it. I'm still working. I promise you I have not given up on that day. It's not in there, but I'm working on it. Is the author Meg Cabot? The author is Meg Cabot. She is my actual hero as far as writing goes. All I want in my life since I was literally 14 years old is to be Meg Cabot as far as work goes. So yes, that is why The Princess Diaries is so great. Good morning, Ray. So that is today's agenda. Did you guys know we have Roll for Slam After Dark tonight? It's true, we do. Yes, we have Roll for Slam After Dark this evening. It's going to be very fun. Yes. Oh no, Anya, you're sick too? Why is everybody sick? Kyle bought me Legos for work anniversary. I'll be at my job. Wow. It feels crazy. You know what, Heather? It was one of those things where it was a tasting menu, so we had a whole bunch of they gave us 6 little courses of things, it was so great. We had some tagliatelle, we had some cavatappi, we had some stuffed pastas, but all small enough that you never got too full to eat the next one. It was so great. Really, really great experience. TikTok glitches galore. It's glitching. Is it glitching for anybody else? If not, Amanda, you might want to go out and back in. I was adding books to my current reading list. Yes. You lived in Sicily for 6 years. Really? Do you follow my friend Dara, who lives in Sicily? She's also from California, like I am. She's from San Diego, but she lives in Sicily. I've never actually been to Sicily. I've only ever been to other parts of Italy. But she lives there, and I want to go visit her. Restarted twice and it's better now. Oh, good. No, what's her screen name? It might be Dara and Santi in Italy or something like that. I'll have to find it for you. I'm not 100% sure, but she's so funny. She and her husband are hysterical, and they have 2 little girls there. She married a Sicilian guy. That's why she lives there. The funny thing about it, Heather, oh my gosh, you made slime with your nibblings with my guide. That's so great. The funny thing about it, Heather, is that her daughters were born in Italy because, yeah, no, seriously, Heather, it's totally the dream. But her daughters were born there, and so their English is a little wonky, but they correct her Italian. It's so funny. Cracks me the heck up every time. When she says something grammatically wrong in Italian, they're like, Mama, per favore. You know what I mean? She's like, or sometimes the girls will be like, mi madre es molto italiana. Or Americana. They're just like, she's too American, Mama, troppo americana. They get so frustrated with her because they're so, her older daughter speaks English pretty well, but her younger daughter doesn't really speak English very much at all because she's still little, and so she only hears Italian everywhere. So she's trying to teach her younger daughter English right now, and it's hard, it's hard. But they're so cute. They're so funny about it. And they also, because they grew up in Sicily, they have very strong Italian culture, these 2 little girls. So she and I were joking about it because they said something about the pronunciation of the names of Disney princesses, because they're still little girls, right? And her older daughter was like, Mama, she was speaking in English, but she says, Mama, I love Ariel. And her mom was like, do not put an Italian accent on Ariel's word. That is not how you say Ariel. It's Ariel. She's an American Disney princess. Get it right. And she was like, I knew you were going to catch that. I was like, girl, you are half American. You better be saying Ariel. This is very cute. They have a great time. You'll love them if you lived there for a while. You'll find their content very enjoyable. All right, friends, so I didn't think we were going to get this book in time. Yes, it is Santi and Dara in Italy. That's exactly right. Becca found it. They're so great. Such great folks. Yeah, they're on TikTok, and they're also on Instagram and YouTube and everything else. You know what the funny thing about Dara is? So Dara grew up in San Diego. I grew up in Orange County, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump apart from one another. Dara and I have the exact same genetic background. We didn't know that when we became friends, and we would look at each other and we were like, gosh, why do we look like we could be related? We're not related at all, but both of our mothers are 100% Italian and both of our fathers are 100% Persian. So we literally have the exact same genetic makeup. Obviously there's differences because like whatever else happens, but like how random is that? It's not like a normal combo to be half Italian and half Persian because those cultures do not really like each other. You know, they're not the same culturally at all. Italians and Persians do not roll the same way. Italy is a very matriarchal country where Persia is well, Iran they call it now, but like Persian culture is very patriarchal. So like it doesn't jive. So usually they don't end up procreating together, but the fact that we both are Persian fathers and Italian mothers, different parts of Italy, but still. So we look a lot alike. We literally look like we could be cousins, if not siblings. So that's kind of how we became friends, because we looked at each other and we were like, it's funny. If I had fully dark hair right now, I'd look even more like her because she's got this, you know, this hair. Her husband, however, is blonde. We do look alike, right? Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird. We have like the same shaped face and all that stuff. I'm interested to see if Secret Baby comes out looking anything like her children. My husband doesn't really look like her husband at all, but they're both very light. Yeah, he's a blonde Sicilian. He grew up, born and raised in Sicily. His whole family's from Sicily for generations and generations, and he's blonde. Stuff happens. Their daughters are like medium brunette, which makes sense for little Italian girls. Dara looks more Italian than her husband does. LOL, Becca. I'm gonna go ahead and decline that one. All right, so we are starting the Princess Diaries today, which is very exciting. Like I said, this is the first of 11 books in the Princess Diaries series. So if any of you didn't know, the Princess Diaries series has 10 books in it, but the 10th book has a companion book that we'll read at the same time. Yes, it's a very long series. Y'all are looking like you didn't know that this was like a whole thing. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, but it follows her life. This is what made it such a great series, you guys. It starts when she's a freshman, and it came out when most of us were freshmen, and then it goes all the way through till her college years and career, which it makes it so useful. So we'll read other stuff in between, kind of like what we did with the Land of Stories, but like this will give us, you know, we'll probably take it through the end of the year, you know, if not longer. Some of them are shorter, so maybe we'll get through them faster, but really great. Yeah, it's a lot going on. Reading the 10th book alongside the 11th book at the same time is what I did. We can discuss later if that's how you all want to do it, but there's a reason for it, which I don't want to tell you now because it's a spoiler, but like, we'll see. So also, like I said, this actually takes place in New York, not in San Francisco. The movie takes place in San Francisco, but most of these characters are going to have New York accents. Not her, she doesn't have one because she was raised by parents who don't have them, but like some of the characters have accents. So just be prepared for New York, not San Francisco, because I know a lot of people, and it is so fitting with the new movie coming out. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that. I'm such an Anne Hathaway stan, and obviously Julie Andrews. So I just signed up for Roll for Slime birthday and After Dark. Amazing. We'll be posting the agenda later. I don't know, what do I do for a birthday Roll for Slime? It totally depends. I don't know what day you signed up for. I have to go look at that when I'm not on here because I can't see the list in front of me where I am right now. As long as there's space on the day you signed up for, if you are on a Roll for Slime tier, it goes with your monthly. If not, not, you just have to pay for that separately. Okay, so let's get reading. Princess Diaries, Book 1. Tuesday, September 23rd. Sometimes it seems like all I ever do is lie. My mom thinks I'm repressing my feelings about this, and I say to her, no, Mom, I'm not. I think it's really neat. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. And my mom says, I don't think you're being honest with me, honey. And then she hands me this book, and she tells me she wants to write down my feelings in it, since she says I obviously don't feel like I can talk about my feelings with her. She wants me to write down my feelings. Okay, fine, I'll write down my feelings. I cannot believe she's doing this to me. Like, everybody doesn't already think I'm a freak. I'm practically the biggest freak in the entire school. I mean, let's face it. I'm 5'9", I'm flat-chested, and I'm a freshman. How much more of a freak could I be? If people in school find out about this, I'm dead. That's it. Dead. Oh, God. God, if you really do exist, please don't let them find out about this. There are 4 million people in Manhattan, right? That makes about 2 million of them guys. So, like, of 2 million guys, she has to go out with Mr. Gianni. She can't go out with some guy I don't know. She can't go out with some guy that she met at D'Agostino's or wherever. No, 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 no. She has to go out with my algebra teacher. Thanks, Mom. Thanks a whole lot. Wednesday, September 24th, 5th period. Lily's like, Mr. Gianni's really cool. Yeah, right. He's cool if you're Lily Moscovitz. He's cool if you're good at algebra like Lily Moscovitz is. He's not cool if you are flunking algebra like me. He's not cool if he makes you stay after school every single solitary day from 2:30 to 3:30 to practice the FOIL method when you could be hanging out with your friends. He is not so cool if he calls your mother in for a parents-teacher conference to let her know that you're flunking algebra, and then he asks her out. And he is not so cool if he is also sticking his tongue in your mom's mouth. Not that I've actually seen them do that. They haven't actually even been on their first date yet, and I don't think that my mom would let a guy put his tongue in her mouth on the first date. At least I hope not. I saw Josh Richter stick his tongue in Lana Weinberger's mouth last week, and I had this totally close-up view of it. And since they were leaning up against Josh's locker, which is right next to mine, it kind of really grossed me out. Though I can't say I would mind if Josh Richter kissed me like that. Anyway, the other day, Lily and I were at Bigelow's picking up some alpha hydroxy for Lily's mom, and I noticed Josh waiting at the checkout counter, and he saw me, and he sort of just smiled and said, hey. He was buying Drakkar Noir men's cologne. I got a free sample of it from the sales girl, and now I can smell Josh whenever I want to, in the privacy of my own home. Lily says that Josh's synapses probably misfire that day due to the heat stroke or something like that. She said that he probably thought I looked familiar, but like couldn't place my face without the cement block of walls of Albert Einstein High School behind me. But why else, she asked, would the most popular senior in high school say hi to me, Mia Thermopolis, a lonely freshman? But I know it wasn't heat stroke. The truth is, when he's away from Lana and all his jock friends, Josh is a totally different person. He's the kind of person who doesn't care if a girl's flat-chested or wears size 10 shoes, the kind of person who can see beyond all that into the depths of a girl's soul. I know, because when I look into his eyes, and I looked into his eyes that day at Bigelow's, I saw the deeply sensitive person inside him just struggling to get out. Lily says that I have an overactive imagination and a pathological need to invent drama in my own life, and she says the fact that I'm so upset about my mom and Mr. G is just a classic example of that. Listen, if you're upset about it, just tell your mom. Lily says, tell her you don't want her to go out with him. I don't understand you, Mia. You're always going around lying about how you're feeling. Why don't you just assert yourself for a change? Your feelings have worth, you know? Oh, right. Like, I'm gonna bum my mom out like that. She's totally so happy about this date. It's enough to make me want to throw up. She goes around cooking all the time. I'm not even kidding. She made pasta for the first time last night in like months. I had already opened Susie's Chinese takeout menu, and she said, oh no, no cold sesame noodles tonight, honey. I made pasta. Pasta. My mom made pasta. She even observed my rights as a vegetarian and didn't put meatballs in the sauce. I don't understand this. I don't understand any of this. Things to do. List. Number 1, buy cat litter. Number 2, finish the foil worksheet for Mr. G. Number 3, stop telling Lily everything. Number 4, go to Pearl Paint, get soft lead pencils, spray mount, canvas stretchers, all for Mom. Number 5, World Civ report on Iceland, 5 pages, double spaced. 6, stop thinking so much about Josh Richter. 7, drop off the laundry. 8, October rent, make sure Mom has deposited Dad's check. Number 9, be more assertive. Number 10, measure my chest. This brings me back to the first. I know I haven't read this literally since 2001, you guys. I am not joking. Or maybe 2000. What is the poem I'm thinking before? It gives me hives, Liz. So we obviously have different reactions to it. I'm a little more of a Mia than you are. You're even obsessed about writing. I mean, you guys, I hope you can see a little bit of how I turned out the way that I am in the writing style of this book. Think about this. This is like baby 14-year-old Sasha, like soaking this up. And I was like, I could do this. I could be a writer. You can see it, right? Just me sitting there in my room reading this, like, I could do this. I could totally do this. All right. Let's continue. Thursday, September 25th. In algebra today, all I could think about was how Mr. Gianni might put his tongue in my mom's mouth tomorrow night during their date. I just sat there staring at him, and he asked me a really easy question. I swear, he saves all the easy questions for me, like he doesn't want me to feel left out or something like that. I don't know, I totally didn't even hear it, and I was like, hey, what? And then Lana Weinberger made that sound that she always makes when she leaned over to me so that her blonde hair swept the desk, and I got hit by a giant wave of perfume, and then Lana hissed at me in a really mean voice, and she said, freak. Only she did it like it had more than one syllable, so it was more like freak. How come nice people like Princess Diana get killed in car wrecks, but people like Lana never do? I don't understand what Josh Richter sees in her. I mean, yeah, like she's pretty, but she's so mean. Doesn't he notice that? Maybe Lana's nice to Josh, though. I'd sure be nice to Josh. He's the best looking boy at Albert Einstein High School. A lot of the boys look like totally geeky in our school uniforms, which for boys is gray pants, white shirt, black sweater, long sleeve, or a vest. I don't know. Not Josh, though. He looks like a model in his uniform. I am not kidding. Anyway, today I noticed that Mr. Gianni's nostrils stick out kind of a lot. Like, why would you want to go out with a guy whose nostrils stick out so much? I asked Lily this at lunch, and she said, I've never noticed his nostrils before. Are you going to eat that dumpling over there? Lily says that I need to stop obsessing. She says I'm taking my anxiety over the fact that it's our first month in high school and I already have an F on something and transferring it to anxiety about Mr. Gianni and my mom. She says that this is called displacement. It sort of sucks when your best friend's parents are actually psychoanalysts. Today after school, the doctors, Mouskovitz, were trying to analyze me. I mean, like, look, Lily and I were just sitting there playing Boggle, and every 5 minutes it was like, girls, do you want some Snapple? Girls, there's a very interesting squid documentary on the Discovery Channel. And by the way, Mia, how do you feel about your mother starting to date your algebra teacher? And I said, I feel fine about it. Why can't I be more assertive? But what if Lily's parents run into my mom at Jefferson Market or something? And if I told them the truth, you know that they would definitely tell her. And I don't want my mom to know how weird I feel about this, not when she's so happy about it. So like, look, the worst part is that Lily's older brother, Michael, overheard the whole thing. He immediately started laughing his head off, even though I don't see anything funny about it. He went, your mom is dating Frank Gianni? So great. Now Lily's brother Michael knows too. So then I had to start begging him not to tell anybody. He's in 5th period, gifted and talented with me and Lily, which is the biggest joke of a class because Mrs. Hill, who's in charge of the G&T program at Albert Einstein, doesn't care what we do as long as we don't make too much noise. Anyway, she hates it when she has to come out of the teacher's lounge, which is right across from the G&T room, and she doesn't want to have to yell at us. Anyway, Michael is supposed to use 5th period to work on his online webzine called Crackhead, and I'm supposed to use it for catching up on algebra homework. But anyway, Mrs. Hill never checks to see what we're doing in G&T, which is probably good since mostly what we're doing is figuring out ways to lock the new Russian kid who's supposedly this music genius in the supply closet so we don't have to listen to any more Stravinsky on his stupid violin. But I don't think just because Michael and I are united against Boris Pulowski and his violin that he'd keep quiet about my mom and Mr. G. What Michael kept saying was, what do you do for me, huh, Thermopolis? What are you gonna do for me? But there's nothing that I can do for Michael Moskowitz that There's nothing I can do for Michael Moskovitz. I can't offer to do his homework or anything like that. Michael's a senior, just like Josh Richter. Michael has gotten straight A's his entire life, just like Josh Richter. Michael will probably go to Yale or Harvard next year, just like Josh Richter. What could I do for someone like that? Not that Michael's perfect or anything like that. Unlike Josh Richter, Michael is not on the crew team. Michael's not even on the debate team. Michael doesn't even believe in organized sports or organized religion or organized anything for that matter. Instead, Michael spends almost all of his time in his room. I once asked Lily what he does in there, and she said that she and her parents employ a don't ask, don't tell policy with Michael. How old was Mia in the movies? I'm not sure, Nice. I can't remember. How old was Mia in the movies? I don't know, but I know that the books start with her as a freshman and take her through college. So I'm not sure. I bet he's in there making a bomb or something. He'll blow up Albert Einstein High School as a senior prank. Occasionally, Michael does come out of his room and he makes sarcastic comments, and sometimes when he does this, he's not even wearing a shirt. Even though he doesn't believe in organized sports, I noticed that Michael does have a really nice chest. His stomach muscles are extremely well defined. I've never mentioned this to Lily, of course. Anyway, I guess Michael got tired of offering to do stuff like walk his Sheltie, Pavlov, and take his mom's empty tab cans back to Gristides for the deposit money, which is his weekly chore to do. Because in the end, Michael just said in this disgusted voice, forget it, okay, Thermopolis, and went back to his room. I asked Lily why he was so mad, and she said she believes it's because he's been, how am I going to say this on here? Schmexually harassing me, but I didn't notice. How embarrassing. Supposing Josh Richter starts schmexually harassing me someday. I wish. And I don't notice that. God, I'm so stupid sometimes. Anyway, Lily said not to worry about Michael telling his friends at school about my mom and Mr. G since Michael has no friends. And then Lily wanted to know why I care about Mr. G's nostrils sticking out so much since I'm not the one who has to look at them. My mom is. And I said, excuse me, I have to look at them every day from 9:55 to 10:55 a.m. and then again from 2:30 to 3:30 every single day, except for Saturdays and Sundays and national holidays and summer. But if I don't flunk, that is, if I do flunk, I'm going to have to go to summer school. And then if they get married, then I'll have to look at them every single day, 7 days a week, major holidays included. Define set. Collection of objects. Element or member belongs to a set. A equals Jillian, Skipper, Marianne. Rules specified each element. A equals XX is one of the castaways on Gilligan's Island. Friday, September 26th. Lily Moskowitz's list of hot guys compiled during World Civ with commentary by Mia Thermopolis. Number 1, Josh Richter. Mia's commentary. Agreed. 6 feet of unadulterated hotness, blonde hair often falling into his blue eyes, and that sweet, sleepy smile. Only drawback, he has bad taste because he's dating Lana Weinberger. Number 2, Boris Pawlowski. Ugh, strong disagree. Just because he plays his stupid violin at Carnegie Hall when he was 12 years old does not make him hot. Plus, he tucks his school sweater into his pants instead of wearing it outside like a normal person. Number 3, Pierce Brosnan. Best James Bond ever. Mia's commentary. Disagree. I like Timothy Dalton better. Number 4, Daniel Day-Lewis in Last of the Mohicans. Agreed. Stay alive no matter what occurs. Number 5, Prince William of England. Duh. Number 6, Leonardo in Titanic. As if. That is so 1998. Number 7, Mr. Wheaton, the crew coach. Hot but taken. Seen opening the door to the teacher's lounge for Mademoiselle Klein. Number 8, that guy in the jeans ad on that giant billboard in Times Square. Totally agree. Who is that guy? They should give him his own TV show. Number 9, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman's boyfriend. Whatever happened to him anyway? He was so hot. Number 10, Joshua Bell, the violinist. Honestly, totally agree. He would be so cool to date a musician, just not Boris Pawlowski. I completely agree, Liz. It's funny because in the early 2000s, William was the hot brother, and that has absolutely changed. He is bald, and no one likes him anymore. Not just because he's bald, because of bad behavior, of course. But yes, his mother from the grave snatched that hair right off his head and said, "You better behave, son. You better behave." That's what she did, because their other son still has all his hair. I'm just saying, whether you think he's the attractive one or not, he was the popular one at this time. and she snatched that hair right off his head. His mom said, no, sir, no. Continuing. There's another really fun thing about this because it's diary entries. We get a lot of little snippets, and we get to, like, you know, go through that way. Harry and Meghan are thriving. It's true. Yeah, Mama Di said, I got you, son. No worries. Later, on Friday, I was measuring my chest and totally not thinking about the fact that my mom was out with my algebra teacher when my dad called. I don't know why, but I lied and I told him that mom was at her studio, which is so weird because, like, obviously dad knows mom dates, but for some reason I just couldn't tell him about Mr. Gianni. This afternoon, during my mandatory review session with Mr. Gianni, I was sitting there practicing the foil method. First, outside, inside, last. First, outside, inside, last. Oh my God, when am I ever going to actually have to use the foil method in real life? Like, really, when? And anyway, all of a sudden, Mr. Gianni says, hey, Mia, I hope you don't feel, well, uncomfortable about me seeing your mother socially. And for some reason, for a second, I thought he actually said schmexually, not socially. And then I could feel my face getting really hot. I mean, like, burning. And I said, oh no, Mr. Gianni, it doesn't bother me at all. And Mr. Gianni said, because if it bothers you, we can talk about it. I guess he must have figured out I was lying since my face was so red. But all I said was, really, no, it doesn't bother me. I mean, like, it bothers me a little, but really, I'm fine. I mean, like, it's just a date, right? Why get so upset over, like, one measly date? And that was when Mr. Gianni said, well, Mia, I don't know if it is going to be one measly date. I really like your mother. And then I don't even know how, but all of a sudden I heard myself saying, well, you better, because if you do anything to make her cry, I'll kick your butt. Oh my God, I cannot even believe I said the word butt to a teacher. My face got even redder after that, which I wouldn't have even thought possible. Why is it that the only time I can tell the truth is when it's guaranteed to get me in trouble? But I guess I am feeling sort of weird about the whole thing. I mean, like, maybe Lily's parents were right. Mr. Gianni, though, he was, like, totally cool. He smiled in this funny way and said, I have no intention of making your mother cry, but if I ever do, you do have permission to kick my butt. So, like, that was okay. Sort of. Anyway. Dad sounded really weird on the phone, but then again, he always does. Transatlantic phone calls suck because I can hear the ocean swishing around in the background and it makes me all nervous, like the fish are listening or something weird like that. Plus, Dad didn't even want to talk to me. He wanted to talk to Mom. I suppose somebody died and he wants Mom to break it to me gently. Maybe it was Grandmere. Anyway, my breasts have grown exactly none since last summer. Mom was totally wrong. I did not have a growth spurt when I turned 14 like she did. And I will probably never have a growth spurt, at least not on my chest. I only have growth spurts up, never out. Now I'm the tallest girl in my class. And if anyone asks me to the cultural diversity dance next month, yeah, right. I won't be able to wear a strapless dress because there's nothing to hold my chest up. Saturday, September 27th. I was asleep when my mom got home from her date last night. I stayed up late as I could because I wanted to know what happened, but I guess all that measuring kind of wore me out. So I didn't get to ask her how the date went until this morning when my mom came out of the kitchen to feed Fat Louie, or when I came out of the kitchen to feed Fat Louie. Mom was already up, which is weird because usually she sleeps later than me, and I'm a teenager. I'm supposed to be the one sleeping in all the time, but Mom's been depressed ever since her last boyfriend turned into a Republican. Anyway, she was there humming happily away and making pancakes. I nearly died of shock to see her actually cooking something so early in the morning, let alone something vegetarian. Oh yeah, it's definitely Anne Hathaway, for sure. Of course, she had a fabulous time. They went to dinner at Monte's, not too shabby, Mr. G, and then walked around the West Village and went to some bar and sat outside in the back garden until nearly 2 in the morning, just talking. I kind of tried to find out if there'd been any kissing, particularly the tongue and mouth variety, but Mom just smiled and looked all embarrassed. Okay, gross. And they're going out again next week? I mean, I guess I don't mind. If this is making her happy, Today, Lily's shooting a spoof of the movie The Blair Witch Project from her TV show, Lily Tells It Like It Is. The Blair Witch Project is about some kids who go out into the woods and find a witch and end up disappearing. All that's found of them is the film footage and some piles of sticks. Only instead of The Blair Witch Project, Lily's version is called The Green Witch Project. Lily intends to take a handheld camera down to Washington Square Park and film the tourists who come up to us and ask us know how to get to the Green Witch Village. It's actually Greenwich Village. You're not even supposed supposed to pronounce the W in Greenwich, but people from out of town always say it wrong. Anyway, as the tourists come up to us to ask which way to Greenwich Village, we're supposed to start screaming and run away in terror. All that will be left of us by the end, Lily says, is a pile of Metro cards. Lily says after the show is aired, no one will ever think of Metro cards the same way. I said it's too bad we don't have a real witch, and I thought we could get Lana Weinberger to play her, but Lily said that that would be typecasting. Plus, then we'd have to put up with Lana all day, and really nobody wants to do that. Like she would even show up, considering how she thinks we're the most unpopular girls in the whole school anyway. She probably wouldn't want to tarnish her reputation being seen with this. Then again, she's so vain she'd probably jump at the chance to be on TV, even if it is only a public access channel. After filming was over for the day, we all saw the blind guy crossing Bleecker. He had a new victim, this totally innocent German tourist who had no idea that the nice blind man she was helping across the street was going to feel her up as soon as they got to the other side and then pretend that he didn't do it on purpose. Ugh, just my luck. The only guy who's ever felt me up, not that there's anything to feel, was blind. Lily says she's gonna report the blind guy to the 6th precinct, like they would care. They have more important things to worry about, like catching murderers. Things to do. Number 1, get cat litter. Number 2, make sure mom sent out the red check. Number 3, stop lying. Number 4, proposal for your English paper. Number 5, pick up laundry. Number 6, stop thinking about Josh Richter. Saturday, September 28th. My dad called again today, and this time mom really was in her studio, so I didn't feel so bad about lying like last night and not telling him about Mr. Gianni. He sounded all sorts of weird on the phone again, so I finally was like, Dad, is Grandmere dead? And he got all startled and he said, No, Mia, why would you think that? And I told him it was because he sounded so weird, and he was like, I don't sound weird, which was a lie, because he did sound weird. But then I decided to just let it drop, and I talked to him about Iceland because we're studying Iceland in World Civ. Iceland has the world's highest literacy rate because there's nothing to do there but read. They also have these natural hot springs and everybody goes swimming in them. Once the opera came to Iceland and every show was sold out and something like 90% of the population attended, everybody knew all the words to the opera and they went around singing it all day. I'd like to live in Iceland someday. It sounds like a fun place, much more fun than Manhattan, where people spit at you sometimes for no reason. But Dad didn't seem all that impressed by Iceland. I suppose, in comparison, Iceland does make every other country look sucky. The country Dad lives in is pretty small, though. I would think if the opera went there, about 80% of the population would attend there too, which is certainly something to be proud of. I only shared this information with him because he is a politician, and I thought it might give him some ideas on how to make things better in Genovia, where he lives. But I guess Genovia doesn't need to be better. Genovia's #1 import is tourists, and I know this because I had to do a fact sheet on every country in Europe for 7th grade, and Genovia was right up there with Disneyland as far as income from tourist trade is concerned. That's probably why people in Genovia don't have to pay taxes. The government already has enough money. This is called a principality. The only other one is Monaco. And my dad says that we have a lot of cousins in Monaco, but so far I haven't met any of them, not even at Grandmere's. I suggested to Dad that next summer, instead of spending it with him and Grandmere at her French chateau in Mirmenoch, we go to Iceland. We have to leave my grandmother at the chateau, of course, because she hates Iceland. She hates any place where you can't order up a decent sidecar, which is her favorite drink, by the way, 24 hours a day. And all Dad said was, we'll talk about it some other time, and hung up. So Mom's right about him. Absolute value, the distance that a given number is given from 0 on a number line, always positive. Yeah, her dad is, that's so funny, Joy. It sounds like you mixed it up with my book. Her dad is still alive in this book, yes, and he is from Genovia, yes. Monday, September 29th, G&T. Today I watched Mr. Gianni very closely for signs that he might not have had as good of a time on his date with my mom as my mom did. He seemed to be in a really good mood though. During class, while we were working on the quadratic formula, what happened to FOIL? I was just starting to get the hang of it and all of a sudden there's a new thing I have to do? No wonder I'm flunking this class. He asked if anybody had gone out for a part in the fall musical, which is My Fair Lady. And then later he said, in the way that he does when he gets excited about something, you know who would be a really good Eliza Doolittle? Mia, I think you would. And I thought I would totally die. I know Mr. Gianni was only trying to be nice. I mean, he's dating my mom after all, but he was so far off. First of all, because of course they already held auditions, and even if I had gone out for a part, which I couldn't because I'm flunking algebra, hello, Mr. Gianni, did you forget that? I never would have gotten a part, let alone the lead. I can't sing. I can barely even talk. Even Lana Weinberger, who always got the lead in junior high, didn't get the lead in this one. It went to some senior girl. Lana's playing a maid, a spectator at the Ascot races, and a Cockney hooker. Lily's the house manager. Her job is to flick the lights on and off at the beginning and end of intermission. I was so freaked out by what Mr. Gianni said that I couldn't even say anything. So I just sat there and felt myself turning all kinds of red. Maybe that's why later when Lily and I went by my locker at lunch, Lana, who was there waiting for Josh, was all, "Oh, hello, Amelia," in her snottiest voice, even though nobody's called me Amelia except for Grandmere since like kindergarten when I asked people not to. And then as I bent over to get my money out of my backpack, Lana must have gotten a good look down my blouse because all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, how sweet. I see that we still can't fit into a bra. Might I suggest Band-Aids for you, Mia?" I would have hauled off and slugged her. Well, probably not, because the doctors Moskovitz say I have issues with confrontation. But Josh Richter walked up at that very moment, and I knew he totally heard. And all he said was, "Hey, can I get by here?" to Lily, since she was blocking the path to his locker. I was ready to go slinking down to the cafeteria and forget the whole thing. God, that's all I need. My lack of chest pointed out right in front of Josh Richter. But Lily could not leave well enough alone. She got all red in the face, and she said to Lana, "Why don't you all do us a favor and go curl up someplace and die, Weinberger?" Well, nobody tells Lana Weinberger to go curl up someplace and die. And I do mean nobody. Not if she doesn't want her name written all over the walls of the girls' room. Not that it would be such a heinous thing. I mean, no boys are going to see in the girls' room anyway. But I sort of like keeping my name off of walls for the most part. But Lily doesn't care about things like that. I mean, she's short, sort of round, and kind of resembles a pug. And she doesn't care how she looks. I mean, she has her own TV show. And guys call in all the time and say how ugly they think she is. And they ask her to lift up her skirt. She isn't flat-chested. Oh, sorry, not her skirt, her shirt. She isn't flat-chested, and she already wears a C-cup. And she just laughs and laughs at them. Lily isn't afraid of anything. So when Lana Weinberger started in on her for telling her to curl up and die, Lily just blinked at her and said, "Bite me." The whole thing would have escalated to this giant girl fight. Lily has seen every single episode of Xena Warrior Princess and can kick boss like nobody's business. If Josh Richter hadn't slammed his locker door closed and said, "Yeah, I'm out of here," in a disgusted voice. And that's when Lana just dropped it like a hot potato and scooted after him going, "No, Josh, no, wait up, Josh, wait up." Lily and I just stood there looking at each other like we couldn't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. These people, why do I have to be incarcerated with them on a daily basis? Homework. Algebra, problems 1 through 12, page 79. English, proposal. World Civ, questions at the end of chapter 4. G&T, none. French, use avoir in negative sentence. Lessons 1 to 3 plus pas de pleurs. Biology, none. B equals XX is an integer. D equals 2, 3, 4. 4 ED, 5 ED. E equals X is an integer greater than 4 but less than 258. Sure. It's wild to me how easily this rolls off my tongue, even though I literally have not read it in like almost 20 years, like maybe more than 20 years, more than 20 years. Actually, I have not read this book in almost 30 years and it just flies off my tongue. Algebra makes my brain hurt too, Sloth. I hate it so much. I'm definitely a Mia. But I love it. Tuesday, September 30th. Something really weird just happened. I got home from school and my mom was there. She's usually at the studio all day during the week. She had this funny look on her face and then she went, "I have to talk to you." She wasn't humming anymore. She hadn't cooked anything, so I knew that this was serious. I was kind of hoping that Grandmere was dead, but I knew it would be much worse than that, and I was worried that something had happened to Fat Louie, like he swallowed his sock, another sock. Last time he did that, the vet charged us $1,000 to remove the sock from his small intestine, and he walked around with a funny look on his face for about a month. Fat Louie, I mean, not the vet. But it turned out it wasn't about my cat. It was about my dad. The reason Dad kept calling was because he wanted to tell us that he just found out because of his cancer, he can't have any more kids. Cancer's a scary thing, but fortunately, the kind of cancer my dad has is pretty curable. They just had to cut off the cancerous part, and he had to have chemo, and after a year so far, the cancer hasn't come back. Unfortunately, the part that they had to cut off was, ew, I don't even really like writing this, his testicles. gross. It turns out that when they cut off one of your testicles and they give you chemo, you have like a really strong chance of becoming sterile, which my dad just found out that he is. Mom says he's really bummed out. She says we have to be really understanding of him right now because men have needs, and one of them is the need to feel progenitively omnipotent. What I don't get is like, what's the big deal? What does he need more kids for? He already has me. Sure, I only see him at summers and Christmas time, but like that's enough, right? I mean, he's pretty busy running Genovia. It's no joke to try to make a whole country, even one that's only a mile long, run smoothly. The only other thing that he has time for besides me is his girlfriends. He's always got some new girlfriends thinking around. He brings them with him whenever we go to Grandma's place in France in the summer, and they're always drooling all over the pools and the stables and the waterfalls and the 27 bedrooms and the ballrooms and the vineyard and the farms and the airstrip, and then he dumps them like a week later. I didn't know that he wanted to marry one of them and have kids. I mean, he never married my mom. My mom said that's because at the time she rejected the bourgeoisie mores of a society that didn't even accept women as equals to men and refused to recognize her rights as an individual. I kind of always thought that maybe my dad just never asked her. Anyway, my mom says that dad is flying to New York tomorrow to talk to me about all this, but I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with me. But when I said that to mom, I said, why does dad have to fly all the way over here to talk to me about how he can't have kids? And she got this funny look on her face and started to say something. And then she stopped. And then she just said, I don't know, you'll have to ask your father. This is bad. Mom only says, ask your father, when I want to know something she doesn't feel like telling me. Like why sometimes people kill their own babies and how come Americans eat so much red meat and read so much less than the people of Iceland. Note to self, look up the words progenitive, omnipotent, and mores. Distributive law. 5x plus 5y minus 5. 5 parentheses x plus y minus 1. Distribute what? I have to find this out before the quiz. Wednesday, October 1st. My dad's here. Well, not here, like in the loft. He's staying at the plaza, as usual. I'm supposed to go see him tomorrow after he's rested. My dad rests a lot now that he has cancer. He stopped playing polo too, but I think that's because one time a horse stepped on him. Anyway, I hate the plaza. Last time my dad stayed there, they wouldn't let me go in to see him because I was wearing shorts. The lady who owns the place was there, and they said she doesn't like to see people in cutoffs in the lobby of her fancy hotel. I had to call my dad from a house phone and ask him to bring down a pair of pants. And he told me to just put the concierge on the phone, and next thing you know, everyone was apologizing to me like crazy. They gave me this big basket filled with fruit and chocolate. That was cool. I didn't want the fruit though, so I gave it to a homeless man I saw on the subway on my way back down to the village. I don't even think the homeless man wanted the fruit either, since he threw it all in the gutter and just kept using the basket as a hat. I told Lily about what my dad said about not being able to have any more kids, and she said that was very telling. She said that it revealed that my dad still has unresolved issues with his parents. And I said, well, duh, Grandma's a huge pain in the ass. Lily said that she couldn't comment on the veracity of that statement. She never met my grandmother. I've been asking if I could invite Lily to Merrimack for years, but Grandma always says no. She says young people give her migraines. Lily says that maybe my dad is afraid of losing his youth, which many men equate with losing their virility. I really think that they should move Lily up a grade, but she says she likes being a freshman. She says the way that she has 4 whole years to make observations on the adolescent condition in post-Cold War America is good. Starting today, I will, number 1, be nice to everyone, whether I like him or her or not. Number 2, stop lying all the time about my feelings. Number 3, stop forgetting my algebra notebook. Number 4, keep my commentary to myself. Number 5, stop writing my algebra notes in my journal. The third power of x is called cube of x. Negative numbers have no square root. Notes from G&T. Lily, I can't stand this. When is she going to go back to the teacher's lounge? Me. Maybe never. I heard that they were shampooing the carpet today. Oh my God, he is so cute. Who's cute? Boris. He isn't cute. He's gross. Look at what he did to his sweater. Why does he do that? You are so narrow-minded. I am not narrow-minded, but someone should tell him that in America, we don't tuck in our sweaters. Well, maybe in Russia they do. But this isn't Russia. Also, someone should tell him to learn a new song. If I have to hear Requiem for a Dead King, whoever, whatever, one more time, you're just jealous because Boris is a musical genius and you're flunking algebra. Lily, just because I'm flunking algebra doesn't mean I'm stupid. Okay, what is wrong with you today? Nothing is wrong with me today. Slope. Slope of a line denoted m equals y squared minus y1 over x squared minus x1. Find the equation of the line with slope equals 2. Find the degree of slope to Mr. G's nostrils. This next segment is kind of long, so this will be our last segment for today. Thursday, October 2, ladies' room at the Plaza Hotel. No, y equals mx plus b. Oh, no. Well, that's not what it said. But I wouldn't know. Here we go. This is the moment. Are you guys ready? I'm glad that we got to this before the end of the first day. This is very important. I feel like I'm like embodying the character. Like I can be Mia. Well, I guess now I know why my dad is so concerned about not being able to have more kids. Because he's a prince. Geez, how long did they think that they could keep something like that from me? Although, come to think of it, they've been managing it for a pretty long time. I mean, I've been to Genovia, Miranac, where I go in the summers, and also most Christmases. Is the name of my grandmother's house in France actually the border of France, right near Genovia, which is actually right between France and Italy? I've been going to Miranac ever since I was born. Never with my mother, though. Only with my dad. My mom and dad have never lived together. Unlike a lot of kids I know who sit around wishing that their parents would get back together after they get divorced, I'm perfectly happy with this arrangement. My parents broke up before I was even born, although they've always been pretty friendly with one another, except when my dad's being moody or like when my mom's being flaky, which she totally can be sometimes. Things would majorly suck if they lived together. Anyway, Genovia is where my grandmother takes me to shop for clothes at the end of every summer when she's sick of looking at my overalls. But nobody there ever mentioned anything about my dad being a prince. Come to think of it, I did the fact sheet on Genovia 2 years ago and I copied down the names of the royal family, which is Ronaldo, but even then I didn't connect it with my dad. I mean, look, I know that my dad's name is Felipe Ronaldo, and I know but the name of the Prince of Genovia was listed in the encyclopedia as Arthur Christoph Philippe Gerald Grimaldi Ronaldo. And the picture of him must have been like totally old. Dad hasn't had any hair since before I was born. So like when he had chemo, you really couldn't even tell that he was having chemo because he was pretty bald anyway. The picture of the Prince of Genovia showed someone with like a lot of hair and sideburns and a mustache too. I guess I can see now how Mom might have gone for him back then when she was in college. I mean, he was something of a Baldwin, but a prince of a whole country? I mean, I knew he was in politics, and of course I knew he had money. How many kids at my school have summer homes in France? Martha's Vineyard, sure, but maybe, I don't know, not France, but a prince? So, what I want to know is, if my dad is a prince, how come I have to learn algebra? I mean, seriously, I don't think it was such a good idea for Dad to tell me that he was a prince in the palm court of the plaza. First of all, we almost had a repeat performance of the Schwartz incident. The doorman wouldn't even let me in at first. He said, "No minors unaccompanied by an adult," which totally blows that whole Home Alone 2 movie, right? Anyway, I was all, "But I'm supposed to meet my dad here." "No minors," the doorman said again, "unaccompanied by an adult." This seems totally unfair. I wasn't even wearing shorts this time. I was wearing my uniform from Albert Einstein. I mean, pleated skirt, knee socks, the whole thing. Okay, maybe I was wearing Doc Martens, but like, come on, I practically was that Eloise kid, and she supposedly ruled the plaza. Finally, after standing there for like half an hour saying, "But my dad, but my dad, but my dad," the concierge came over and said, "Just who is your father, young lady?" And as soon as I said his name, they let me in. I realize now it's because even they knew that he was a prince, but his own daughter, nobody tells. Dad was waiting at a table. High tea at the plaza is supposed to be this very big deal. You should see all the German tourists snapping pictures of themselves eating chocolate chip scones. Anyway, I used to get a kick out of it when I was a little girl, and since my dad refuses to believe 14 is not little anymore, we still meet there when he's in town. So look, okay, we go to other places too, like if we go see Beauty and the Beast, my all-time favorite Broadway musical. I don't care what Lily says about Walt Disney and his misogynistic undertones. I've seen it 7 times. So my dad, his favorite part is when the dancing fork comes out. Anyway, sorry. We were sitting there drinking tea, and he starts telling me in this very serious voice that he is the Prince of Genovia. And then this terrible thing happened. I get the hiccups. This only happens when I drink something hot and then eat bread. I don't know why. It's never happened at the plaza before, but all of a sudden my dad was like, Mia, I want you to know the truth. I think you're old enough now, and the fact is, now that I can't have any more children, this will have a tremendous impact on your life, and I think it's only fair that I tell you I'm a Prince of Genovia. And I was all, really? Your mother's always felt very strongly that there wasn't any reason for you to know, and I agreed with her. I had very well, unsatisfactory childhood. He's not kidding. Life with Grandmere could not have been picnic-nique, hiccup. I agree with your mother that the palace is no place to raise a child. And then he started muttering to himself, which is what he does whenever I tell him I'm a vegetarian or the subject of mom comes up. Of course, at the time, I didn't think that she intended to raise you in a bohemian artist loft in the Greenwich Village. But I will admit, it doesn't seem to have done you any harm. In fact, I think growing up in New York City has instilled in you a healthy amount of skepticism about the human race at large, hiccup. And then, well, he's never met Lana Weinberger, which is something I didn't gain until college, which I believe is partly responsible for the fact that I have such a difficult time establishing close interpersonal relationships with women. Hiccup. What I'm trying to say is that your mother and I thought by not telling you we were doing you a favor, and the fact is we never envisioned an occasion that might arise where you might succeed the throne. I was only 25 when you were born. I felt certain that I'd meet another woman, marry her, have more children, but now unfortunately that will never be. So the fact is, Mia, you are the heir to the throne of Genovia. I hiccuped again. This was getting absolutely embarrassing. These were were not little ladylike hiccups either. They were huge and made my whole body go springing up out of my chair like it was some sort of 9-foot frog. They were loud too. I mean, like really loud. The German tourists kept looking over all giggly and stuff, and I knew what my dad was saying was super serious, but I just couldn't help it. I just kept hiccuping. So I tried holding my breath and counting to 30, but I only got to 10 before I hiccuped again. I put a sugar cube on my tongue and let it dissolve. No go. I even tried to scare myself thinking about Mom and Mr. Gianni French kissing, and even that didn't work. And finally my dad was like, Mia, are you listening? Have you heard even a word that I've said? I said, Dad, can I be excused for a minute? He sort of looked pained, like his stomach hurt, and then he slumped back in his chair in a defeated way, but he said, all right, go ahead, and gave me $5 to give the washroom attendant, which I of course put in my pocket. $5 for the washroom attendant? Geez, my whole allowance is only $10 a week. I don't know if you've ever been to the ladies' room at the plaza, but it's totally like the nicest one in all of Manhattan. It's pink, and there are mirrors and like little couches everywhere, and in case you look at yourself and you feel the urge to faint from your beauty or something like that, the couch. Anyway, I banged in there, hiccuping like a maniac, and all these women in fancy hairdos looked up annoyed at the interruption. I guess I made them mess with their lip liner or something. I went into one of the stalls, which, besides a toilet, has its own private sink with a huge mirror and a dressing table with a little stool and tassels hanging off of it, and I sat on the stool and concentrated on not hiccuping anymore. Instead, what ended up happening is concentrating on what my dad had said. He is the Prince of Genovia. A lot of things are beginning to make sense now. Like how when I fly to France, I just walk onto the plane from the terminal, but when I get there, I'm escorted off the plane before everyone else and taken by limo to meet my dad. I always thought that was because he had frequent flyer privileges, but I guess it's because he's a prince. And then there's the fact that whenever Grandmere takes me shopping in Genovia, she always takes me either before the stores are officially open or after they've officially closed. She calls ahead to ensure that we'll be let in, and no one has ever said no. In Manhattan, if my mother ever tried to do this, the clerks at the Gap would have fallen over from laughing so hard. And when I'm at Mirganac, I notice that we never go out to eat anywhere. We always have our meals there, or we go to like the neighboring Chateau Mirabeau, which is owned by these nasty British people who have a lot of snotty kids who say things like, that's rot, and you're a wanker to one another. One of the girls, Nicole, is like sort of my friends, but then one night she told me this story about how she was Frenching a boy, and I didn't know what Frenching was because I was only 11 at the time, which I guess is no excuse, but like so was she. Anyway, I thought that Frenching was some sort of weird British thing like toad in the hole or air raids or something like that. So then I mentioned it at the dinner table in front of Nicole's parents, and after that, all those kids stopped talking to me. I wonder if the Brits know that my dad is the Prince of Genovia. I bet they do. God, they must have thought I was like mentally ill or something like that. Most people have never even heard of Genovia. I know when we do our fact sheet, none of the other kids have ever heard of it. Neither had my mother, she says, before she met my dad. Nobody famous has ever come from Genovia. Nobody was born there or ever invented anything or wrote anything or became a movie star. Look, a lot of Genovians, like my grandpa, fought against the Nazis in World War II, but other than that, they aren't really known for like anything. Still, people who have heard of Genovia like to go there because it's so beautiful. It's very sunny nearly all the time, with the snow-capped Alps in the background and the crystal blue Mediterranean in front of it. Also has a lot of hills, some of which are steep, as like the ones in San Francisco. Most of them have olive trees growing on them. That's the main export in Genovia. I remember this from my fact sheet. It's olive oil, the really expensive kind my mom says to only use for salad dressings. There's a palace there too. It's kind of famous because they filmed a movie there once, a movie about the Three Musketeers. I've never been inside. We've driven by it before, me and Grandmere. It's got a lot of turrets and flying buttresses and all sorts of stuff like that. Funny how Grandmere never mentioned having lived there all the times that we drove past it. My hiccups are gone though. I think it's safe to go back to the Palm Court. I'm going to give the washroom attendant $1, even though she didn't really attend me. Hey, I can afford it, I guess. My dad's a prince. I'm watching them back, your roll for slime video, and I laughed because when you said I left the snow there, I realized nobody who doesn't know how to make slime would be very confused. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but yeah, people get confused by that a lot. So that is the beginning of the Princess Diaries. It's someone tried to call spam. It's obviously not a super long book because we're already 15% in, just one day in, so we'll bowl through it pretty quickly. I don't know how everyone's feeling about it, but it gives me warm and fuzzies in my heart. I love it so much. It feels very normal to me. I don't know, it just like falls off my tongue like I'm speaking. I love her so much. I love Mia, I love Meg Cabot. Yeah, I'm sure it's fun for anyone who has never seen or who's never read the book. Only oh, this looks like it was my doctor's office confirming an appointment. Anyway, so I'm gonna go get ready because we have a lot to do today, including Roll for Slime After Dark this evening. Of course, I will post the agenda and the link for that. We'll keep reading this, and maybe Once and Future Witches will be available to us as soon as we're done with this one, and then we can read Princess Diaries 2, and so on, and back and forth and back and forth. Other stuff, fun things, all sorts of good stuff happening this year. This is our first book of the new year. Guys, we're 2 years old now. At the end of this month, like at the end of January, book club will have been on for 2 full years. That's pretty freaking cool. We are awesome. Not a lot of things can be that consistent for 2 full years, so I'm pretty proud of us. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all for After Dark.